Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max has been out for almost 2 years, or 686 days at the time of filming this video. Quite a few of you have asked me to revisit this since it's been a couple years, and we know we're getting an iPhone 15 Pro Max soon, and of course we've had the 14 Pro Max for almost a year. So we'll take a look at the durability, scratches, battery health, and more. Now, one thing to note, of course, many of you have asked me to record outside again. I am, but there's quite a few bugs and airplanes going overhead, so hopefully that doesn't bother you. But let me know what you think about the outdoor videos in the comments below. Now, the first thing is the initial time just picking this up, the 13 Pro Max, as I don't use it regularly anymore, it definitely feels thinner and lighter than the 14 Pro Max. While it's not much different, it definitely has a different feel to it, and I think it's much more balanced in the hand. The camera is smaller, and that may make the biggest difference here, but it definitely feels a little bit different. So I like the little lighter weight and different feel. As far as overall durability, well, it has not been in a case most of the year, and I used it for an entire year without one. The overall outside edge is held up pretty well, and typically what you get on these is with the stainless steel, you'll get a little bit of wear here, just that sort of scratches similar to what you got on an iPod years ago. And it's just stainless steel. You could polish that out, but you can't really notice it unless you're in the right light. But up close, maybe you can see it. There's some scratches there, but it's not anything that should bother most people. As far as scratches on the lenses, there aren't really any scratches here. This is sapphire or just better glass, and it really has no issues whatsoever. No scratches to show, but right around here with the metal, it has scratched a little bit just from setting it down on the table. So it's just worn on the metal here. It's worn away some of the coating. As far as the back glass, nothing to report here. It's held up incredibly well. I really like this matte finish. And as far as the front glass, we do have some scratches. There's some light ones and some deeper ones. Some gouges here in the bottom you may be able to see, and especially along the outside edge. Now, I think this is mostly from filming outside, so let's see if we can see those a little better, but mostly from filming outside and placing my phone down on a picnic table. I think there were some nails that showed up there and caused those scratches, but for the most part, it's held up really well, except for about right there where there's a few that you can see. Otherwise, it's actually pretty good for ceramic shield. Not the best, but this could all have been prevented if I would have used a case from today's sponsor, Caseku. This is the Caseku Magic Stand case. It comes in clear, space black, and there are new clear purple and clear black cases too. It's a protective case that adds grip and looks great, and it has a raised bezel around the screen and camera, but also has a hidden stand built in. The stand allows for a 40 to 120 degree angle, and it also has a magnet in the ring of the stand that supports MagSafe accessories and charging. I like the look of these cases, and especially the convenience of having that stand built in. I'll leave a link in the description below with a discount code so you can check them out. Now, as far as the battery is concerned, that's actually what the iPhone 13 Pro Max was known for, great battery life. So if we take a look at the overall battery health and charging, let's go back here. Battery health, we have 98% battery health after about 227 cycles. Currently, I'm at more cycles on my 14 Pro Max. The 13 Pro Max has held up much better over the period of 2 years, and to be fair, I used this for an entire year regularly and then sort of used it here and there in different videos. So I haven't used it full time for 2 full years, but after a year, it's still holding up much better than the 14 Pro Max battery. And thanks to Kevin for sending in his battery health and battery life on an iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is a launch day version, he said. So 2 years later, he has 93% maximum capacity. You'll see he doesn't use it a whole lot, an hour and 8 minutes on one day, and then on average about 5 hours or so. And it's holding up very, very well. So not huge usage, but it seems to be holding up much better than many people's 14 Pro Max as far as that goes. When it comes to overall speed and performance, going through things, whether it be music or maybe you're just scrolling, ProMotion is super smooth. Going into apps, load nice and fast, and there really doesn't feel like there's much of a difference speed-wise between the 13 Pro Max and the 14 Pro Max. Whether you're going to a website or you're just going to, like I said, music or something else, or switching between the two. It's super fast, it seems to be reliable, and of course that good battery life certainly helps with that. And if we go into Geekbench 6, you can see we're running iOS 17, and it still performs well. So I've shown benchmark scores in the past, it seems to do well that way. And as far as the display, this is a great display. It's lacking basically one thing, the always-on display. But in sunlight, it's super bright. You'll see I don't even have it all the way turned up, and it's really bright outside. But if I turn it up more, of course, it seems to do pretty well compared to maybe the 12 Pro Max when it comes to heat. meaning that it doesn't seem to bring down the brightness of the display as fast when it's hot outside. That was definitely an advantage with this phone, and I'm starting to see the 14 Pro Max in hot environments pull that brightness down as well. The phone stays nice and cool even on iOS 17 compared to the 14 Pro Max in my experience. So it seems to be handling the update without any issue, and of course, like I said, the display is great, has great viewing angles. Of course, we don't have the dynamic island, but many people don't really care about that. I think it's really nice to have, but Apple doesn't seem to have utilized it a whole lot in iOS 17. Maybe we'll see some updates when everything's on it, but right now it doesn't seem to be a huge update for many people. As far as future iOS updates, well, I would expect this to get major features all the way up to iOS 20, maybe iOS 21. Of course, we'll have security updates past that, so it's definitely something that should last for quite some time, and we're not seeing any disadvantages even with the new accessibility features that utilize the LiDAR sensor. It has all of the major features from iOS 17. Not really any issues there, including things such as under accessibility, where you have that personalized voice. So if you go down personal voice, I haven't set it up on here, but it works on here as it carries across iCloud. So it works with all of the major new features in iOS 17, with the exception of the always-on display. Now, as far as the cameras are concerned on the 13 Pro Max, I would say in many ways they're superior to the 14 Pro Max. After using both, recording many videos with both, I would say that the 13 Pro Max is easier to use in that it has a closer minimal focal distance, probably due to the smaller sensor. Instead of being 48 megapixels, it's 12, but it does a great job as far as 4K video. In fact, I'm recording this video with a 13 Pro right now. If I spin this around, you'll see there's a 13 Pro right there, and it's recording the video without any issue. It seems to be doing a great job and keeping in focus. In fact, I recorded this video earlier with the 14 Pro, and it caused a problem. It was out of focus all over the place. The HDR looked terrible, so I decided to re-record it with this camera. So it's definitely doing a better job. As far as the rear cameras, as you're seeing through them right now, they just seem to look better than the 14 Pro Max when it comes to HDR video in general. Of course, we have ultra wide, we can zoom, of course, and we have all of the same features as well as RAW. And ProRes as well on the newer cameras doesn't really make me want to upgrade to anything. So if we switch to video, of course, we have ProRes and maybe some 60 frame per second or changes there, but it's not really a reason to go out and switch to a 14 Pro Max, in my opinion. So I think this is actually a really good camera. It seems to handle focus much better than the 14 Pro Max and just look better overall. The only disadvantage is this forward-facing camera doesn't have autofocus this year like the 14 Pros do in the 14 series. So the forward-facing camera is worse, everything else is better as far as the camera goes. Now, if you're wondering if you should buy an iPhone 13 Pro Max, I would say probably just hold off for now, because in a little while we're going to have a 15 Pro Max or a 15 Pro. I'd wait to see what that has to offer, if it's any better than this phone or the 14 Pro Max. And also it will discount this phone, whether you get it used or maybe refurbished or something else. That's probably the reason I would hold off. If someone could give it to you for free, or maybe you get it very inexpensively, then sure, I would upgrade to it right now. But I would hold off, and if you have a 13 Pro Max, wait and see what the 15 Pro Max actually has to offer above this phone. Because right now, I think if you're really into photography, this might be the way to go as far as video goes regularly, just for dependability, reliability, and being able to get close when you're filming video. You have the macro mode, but it just doesn't look that great up close. So I definitely think this was one of the best phones Apple has ever made. The only thing that I really have gotten used to is the dynamic island on the new phone, so without that, it's not a big deal, but it's something that I would probably miss. The always-on display I can do without. Let me know what you think of the 13 Pro Max in the comments below, if you have one, or if you're picking one up, or if maybe you're upgrading to an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max this year. Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.